Cold Choices. Written by Jon Chan. Produced by Narrative Flow. The meagre fire does little to fight against the bitter winter. Wind whistles through unseen cracks in the four walls you find yourself sheltering in.
Shouldn't we put it out?
Even as Maggie asks the question, she extends both her hands toward the flames. "No," says Terence. The fire is his child. While you and the others heaved a shelf to barricade the door, Terence set about using his magnesium stick and flint with balled-up newspaper as tinder.
Won't whoever the fuck they were see the light?
Asks Maggie. Arthur leans against a wall, peering out a window that looks like it's designed for a basement. The bathroom door is falling off its hinges. The entire cabin feels like an abandoned, above-ground basement with its concrete floor and damp odour. The only well-organised area is a low shelf lined with booze. The handles are arranged by colour and type. The selection is not totally dissimilar from your own liquor cabinet. Not that you're a connoisseur. Your stock consisted of quick internet searches for moderately priced brands that wouldn't embarrass you in front of guests. Also, your cabinet is long gone, buried beneath several tons of brickwork, on a street covered in noxious fog, in a city that no longer contains a living soul. Everyone avoids eyeing the shelf for too long. A teetotaling vibe took over the caravan. Right after everything went down, more than a few people drank themselves to death. It was tough to watch. Now, hooch is used to disinfect wounds, and one botched attempt to rig a truck engine to run.
With the way the storm's picking up, it's just a blanket of white out there,
says Arthur.
What if, I don't know, it has heat vision?
Asks Maggie. That's stupid, says Terence. Let's just be warm. Part of you wants to agree with Terence. It's been a long few days. Exhaustion gnaws at every one of your muscle fibres. At any moment, one might snap and leave you as a collapsed heap on the floor. Resting on the floor, waiting to be slaughtered, has its appeal. If you're dead, at least you won't have to take another step through the snow. You know for a fact that something is deeply wrong with your left foot. Sensations return as it warms by the fire, but you can't quite gather up the courage to wiggle your toes. A few days ago, when you removed your sock, a chunk of skin went with it. You did your best to treat it with a wad of toilet paper soaked in rubbing alcohol. You don't want to look. You'd rather it remain Schrodinger's frostbite.
I think we should be good,
says Arthur.
Ain't no electronics working this close to a static zone.
The mention of a static zone sends pins and needles crawling down your spine. Crackling air and electronics exploding denote a static zone. The zones travelled like low-pressure fronts, wreaking havoc wherever they went, and even blocked signals from passing through them. It was why we couldn't raise anyone on the radio. Arthur led the group out when you got separated from the rest of the caravan. You trust his judgment when it comes to survival, as do the others. He knows a lot about guns and guerrilla tactics. He's a veteran, or at least enjoys cosplaying as one. You're not quite sure. Whenever he talks about his time in the army, the story could have just as easily been about a camping trip with an anti-government militia. One day, you want to confront him about it. Not right now, though. A moment of respite causes you to take a seat on a nearby stool. Whoever furnished this cabin enjoyed pursuing yard sales. You spot a handwritten price tag dangling from a table that Maggie plops her rucksack on. She pulls out a canteen, and you follow suit. You pull out an adventure canteen, looted from a downtown camping store. When you tilt it back, the lip of the canteen clacks painfully against your teeth. There's no water in there, just a soul-sucking block of ice. Terence notices your plight and offers to put your canteen by the fire. He has a bit of a smug expression as he does it.
So we're not going to talk about it?
Asks Maggie.
There's nothing to talk about,
Replies Arthur.
We rest up. When the storm breaks, we head to the rendezvous point.
Maggie, sitting on the table, draws her knees to her body. Fighting for survival in the fallout, armed with nothing but a freshly earned bachelor's degree, she wanted to confront the world and rationalize it rather than put her head down and get on with it. She had new adulthood, but it remained in the packaging.
Monsters attacked us,
She says,
They were raiders, just predators.
retorts Arthur,
They had glowing green eyes.
says Maggie. Terence passes back your canteen with a smirk on his face. The only time you see joy on his face is when he's right about something and can correct you. The exterior scorches your fingers through your gloves. As you drink, the contents warm your throat all the way down, spreading into your chest,
Regardless,
said Arthur.
they're not here right now. Let's just huddle up and get some food in us.
Everyone agrees. The chow huddle is as much a calming ritual as it is a communal meal. Gathering into a circle around the table, each member presents something to the group. Terence presents half a loaf of sourdough. Arthur puts in a side of smoked rabbit. Maggie has a plastic bag filled with lentils, soaking in salt water. You place a can of peaches into the mix. A little sweetness that everyone craves. Eating has taken on a new set of rules. You imagine it was like this during tribal times. Honesty is maintained through fear of ostracization from the group. There are strength in numbers and death in exile. You think back to the first days of the caravan. Tempers were high, as were the hopes of a return to normalcy. Families, like the Levines, splitting off, unwilling to pitch their supplies in the communal pot. You found a teddy bear a few weeks later. On site, it was recognized as belonging to the Levines' 6-year-old daughter, with its sewn-on party hat, holding a heart that says, "Happy birthday, Sarah!" It was on the banks of a newly made, fast-flowing river, created when a dam several miles away burst. There was nothing else left of them. It does you no good to dwell. You eat and replenish. Everything is chopped up into bite-sized pieces and doled out in bowls. For some reason, chopsticks took off in the caravan. Maybe it was because they were easier to clean and lighter than forks, and more hygienic than fingers. But you don't know. Meal times are taken in silence. That's why a wail catches everyone's attention. Arthur immediately goes to one of the windows. He picks up his rifle, which is leaning against the door's barricade, and takes up a position to shoot out of one of the windows. You and Maggie peek out the other window. Over your shoulder, you spot Terence seated on the floor, working with a coil of wire and pliers to make chainmail. He's convinced that society will return to medieval times, the return of the 3 fields farming method and feudal lords. Suddenly, All the heat trapped in between the layers you wear asserts itself. You grab a fistful of collars and yank them back to vent. It doesn't help much. The grasp of a .38 snub nose in your pocket gives you more reassurance. It's the first thing you ever looted off a corpse. An elderly man who died from shock at watching the sky turn to ash. Another wail sounds out. Mostly human, but tinged with animalistic fear. Arthur shoulders his rifle. There's a scope mounted atop it. Maggie crawls toward the window.
What's going on out there?
I can't see shit in this soup,
said Arthur.
Do you think it might be an animal?
Did it sound like an animal to you?
Well, you know we're human. We see faces in toast. So why not voices on the wind?
She seems full of empty hope, like she's trying to win a debate with herself. Another wail sounds out. You swear that you can pick up words distorted by the high winds. Maybe Maggie's argument planted the notion in your head. But the noise is weaker than before. Your heart teeters on whether or not that's a good sign. If it just stopped, you could go on with warming yourself by the fire. You banish the thought. It's selfish and wrong, but easy.
I think I see someone.
Announces Arthur.
By the tree line. Can't make out much.
If it's a stranger, we should just stay inside, says Terence. We shouldn't risk it.
That's fucked up,
says Maggie.
Maybe they're wearing a blue scarf? Definitely got on a white jacket,
says Arthur, straining through his scope.
Loretta,
says Maggie.
She knitted it herself, remember? She was gonna teach me. She is going to teach me.
There's more than one blue scarf in the world? Retorts Terence.
Are we really not even gonna check?
Asks Maggie.
If it is Loretta, what are you gonna say to her kids when we get back?
You murmur in agreement. Arthur shakes his head.
It could be a trap. Perhaps set by the raiders.
I thought you said they couldn't find us,
says Maggie.
I said they couldn't see us with IR goggles. There are other ways to get prey. They might only know where we are, roughly, and are using our screams to get us to reveal ourselves.
Maggie's face twists with indignation.
Well, we can't just leave her out there. She's a human being. We're human beings. At least we're supposed to be.
Loretta's wails die down with the wind. There's silence in the cabin for several heartbeats. Ever since the clocks and watches stopped working, that's how you measure the passage of time in your head. Breaths and heartbeats. Exhaustion tinges the atmosphere like the stench of dried sweat and unwashed clothes. You're tired of being tired.
I'll go out and get her,
you say.
All the more reason they'd use her as bait,
says Arthur in a harsh whisper.
They saw our group, our lovey-dovey ways, and they're using it against us. I will go out and get her,
you repeat. The second time charms Maggie and Arthur into silence.
Will you cover me?
You ask Arthur. All this time, you've been going with the flow, doing the bare minimum to survive, and relying on the charity and wisdom of others. You want to make a change and take charge for once and prove to yourself that you still have agency in a world driven by predation. Maggie helps you move the shelf out of the doorway while Arthur continues to provide overwatch. You crack the door. Winter barged in, put its foot in the door, and forced its way in to claw at your face. You regret allowing any of your body heat to take flight. The cold saps some of your resolve, but fear of being judged as a coward spurs you onward. Your boots sink into the freshly fallen snow halfway up your ankle. It crunches underfoot. The snowstorm has passed, but the wind keeps the past weather in the air. You can barely see anything. The full moon provides the only illumination. Deep breaths help even out your heart rate as you set off. The one hand in your pocket makes your steady jog slightly more awkward. Your eyes adjust to the dark. The vague shadows in the distance transform into pine trees. It's Loretta, without a doubt. She calls out again.
God, help me!
Her voice sounds dry and cracked. You follow her voice to find her. She's laying on the ground.
I'm here.
You say.
Do you think you can walk?
You kneel next to her and try to assess her condition. Through the clouds of your own heaving breath, you catch a shimmer of her white puffer coat.
You're going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
You think about placing your hands on the wound to staunch the flow. The crunch of snow draws your attention. You look up. Chunks of snow fall from the boughs of a nearby pine. Faint green pinpricks shine from the darkness between the tree trunks. More pairs of glowing green eyes join the first. One pair comes forward out of the shadows. The way it walks out only reminds you of human movement. A rifle barks in triplets. You flatten yourself out. A tracer round streaks overhead. The figure in front of you falls. Its body sends up fluffy snow into the air. You take the opportunity to grab Loretta's hood and drag her toward the cabin. Your muscles scream in protest. All you can do to maintain your grip is to focus on the flickering light coming through the small windows and command your legs to keep moving. A flash in the window. Arthur fires again. You don't dare look over your shoulder. The door opens when you are 10 paces away. Maggie leans out of the entrance to help you drag Loretta inside. The door slams shut behind you. Loretta's eyes flutter open.
I've been cut. It's not very deep, but it's long.
You and Maggie remove Loretta's outer layers to reveal the jagged cut into her belly.
Who's got bandages?
Asks Maggie.
Wait,
Says Loretta.
there's a salt water squeeze bottle in my jacket. Use it to clean the wound. There's a tube of super glue in the inside pocket.
You some kind of doctor?
Asks Arthur.
School nurse.
Gasps Loretta. Arthur looks like he wants to say more, but something outside demands his attention. Hairs on the back of your neck stand on end as you go about your work. Your subconscious alerts your consciousness that you hear unnatural breathing.
Oh! What the?
Arthur yelps. A figure with glowing green eyes appears in the window. Its face is unlike anything you've ever seen. A gas mask is growing out of its lower jaw. The eyes are lenses that flicker like there are CRT screens behind them.
Give us 1/5 of you.
It says. Its words are broken by an electronic crackle and laboured breathing.
Take 1/5 of this,
growls Arthur. His rifle spits lightning and roars thunder. The figure disappears. The sound is so loud, it blots out your hearing for a second. When it returns, all you hear is Terence screaming as he rocks back and forth, hands over his ears.
Shut up!
Shouts Arthur.
You fucking retard!
Calm your ass down.
Maggie tells him.
That's not acceptable.
She turns to Terence.
Are you okay?
The window.
You say. The figure returns. There's a spiderweb crack in one of its lenses. Blood and chunks of viscera flow out. If it feels any discomfort, or even cares that chunks of head meat are oozing out of its eye, it shows no sign.
Give us 1/5 of you.
It repeats.
Choose.
Before Arthur can fire again, it leaps away. You hear it land on the corrugated metal roof. It stomps around for a moment before settling down.
What the fuck was that thing?
Whispers Maggie.
Did you not see it? Are you stupid?
Asks Terence, half yelling.
It's a Mark II! A Mark II!
Explain yourself!
Hisses Arthur.
Early Android models. They used wetware for memory storage and computing. I did some god-tier coding on them. I'm surprised it didn't bow down to me like I'm its creator. Because I low-key am the deity of androids.
You glance around the room and subconsciously count.
Why would they want one of us?
This is why people need to listen when I speak. I already explained it. Wetware.
Spare parts,
says Arthur to himself. He turns to you.
How many do you reckon are out there? 4. Maybe 5.
It asked us to choose.
Said Maggie.
Fuck that.
Says Arthur.
There's a reason they ain't storming the place and taking us all. They're scared.
It's more likely their circuitry is fried.
Says Terence.
And they're acting out some sort of group psychosis. Flesh is fragile, but computers are certain.
We just watched one take a bullet to the face and not die.
Says Maggie.
If they're strong enough to jump 15 feet onto the roof, they're probably strong enough to rip us to shreds. Maybe we can reason with them. Make a deal that doesn't involve giving one of us up.
Maybe I'll double tap him next time.
Says Arthur.
I just said they were psychotic.
Says Terence.
If they were functioning correctly, they wouldn't be doing this.
I think I'm the obvious choice.
Says Loretta. She winces as she talks.
They already started carving me up. I don't think I'll be able to walk out of here.
The adrenaline, still coursing in your blood, sparks an idea in your brain. A plan of action. You point at the booze shelf.
So, they can take a shot to the face.
You say.
But what about a whole flaming bottle? I smell what you're stepping in.
Says Arthur. You take a multi-tool out of your pack and finish the job that nature started on the bathroom door.
We tie some rope around this door and make a sled for Loretta. Maggie, I give you my pistol so you and Arthur can cover us while Terence and I pull.
No!
Says Terence. He starts pacing with his fists clenched next to his temples.
If we fight and lose, they'll kill us all. The logical thing to do is to give them Maggie.
Excuse me?
Asks Maggie.
I have the highest IQ of anyone here, which makes me valuable now and for future genetic stock. Loretta is a medical professional. Maggie has a degree in basket weaving.
I do not have a degree in basket weaving, you insufferable ass,
says Maggie.
I can't believe you. I stick up for you all the time. And this is what you think of me?
I'm being logical, and you are being irrational. Possibly due to a hormone imbalance.
That is fucking rich coming from you.
You grab 2 bottles of whiskey by their necks.
I'm going out there. If I win, we leave. If I die, I'll be the one.
But why?
Asks Terence.
I don't know, man. I just want to do something good. Barely outpacing death has wiped everything from me. Maybe if I just run towards it for once, it'll blink.
Everyone understands. You make your preparations. Revolver in hand and 2 Molotov cocktails in each of your deepest pockets. Arthur lends you his Bowie knife. You stuff the sheath into your boot. Not to be outdone, Terence hands you his fire starter. Maggie wishes you luck before she and Arthur move the barricade. The storm has abated. All is still. You trot out into the cold, crunching snow beneath your boot. 10 paces from the cabin, you turn around and look up. The Mark II is still perched up there. The way it turns its head to look at you reminds you of how an owl moves. A panel of the roof groans in protest as the figure jumps off. It lands a dozen yards away. You start to move at an oblique angle away from the Mark II. A vague plan forms in your mind. It involves the fact that pine resin is super flammable. The Mark II waits for several heartbeats before starting after you. Maybe the bullet scrambled more of its brains than you realise. It quickly catches up, but it remains parallel to you. The Mark II suddenly veers towards you, closing in for the kill. You level your revolver and squeeze the trigger. The double action, your nerves, and the cold all work against you. Finally, the gun fires. The seal is broken and 2 more shots follow. The grouping is loose, but they all hit their quarry in the Mark's chest. The figure stumbles, losing momentum. You have the wherewithal to shove the figure into a nearby pine. The time has come for fire. Terence's fire starter works like a charm. Your arm shakes as you throw the flaming bottle, but your aim is true. A cloud of flames engulfs the Mark II. It makes a screeching noise, like a steaming kettle. For good measure, you throw the second one. The nearby trees catch alight. You hope the whole forest burns, taking all the Mark II's little buddies with it. The figure falls onto its hands and knees. The outer rags burn off, revealing the melding of flesh and machine underneath. Instead of muscles, it has bundles of cables and servos in lieu of joints. It looks up at you. Smoke escapes from the inner reaches of its skull through the jagged crack in its eye. It stands, silhouetted by raging flames. The fire cleans away the last vestiges of human friendliness. The outer layers of its service uniform turn to ash and its artificial skin falls to the ground in globs. revealing twisted gelatin fibers and metal conduits. It turns to face you.
Oh, fuck.
You fire your 38 two more times. You spend all 5 of your shots and have gained nothing of value. You want to reload, but there is no time. The smouldering hulk is upon you. It moves too quickly for you to escape. You realize that you stand upon death's ground. The only way to escape the grave is to have the mechanical monstrosity take your place. You step back and draw the Bowie knife from your boot. You go for an overhand stab. Mark II stops the blow with the palm of its hand. The blade goes right through, but it shows no sign of pain. A vignette falls over your vision, blocking out everything until only the knife in your grasp is clear. You place your other hand on the back of the handle and press your weight into it. Gears and servos within the android whine in protest. The arm begins to move ground. Hope fills your chest. Leverage favours you. Maybe if you retch and twist, the offending arm will pop out of the socket. Then the page would turn and finally give you a happy ending where the good guys overcame the odds. Loretta would get to see her kids again. Terence would finish his Ren Fair armour. Maggie would learn to knit. And you, finally, get to do something positive in this shitty world. The android grabs you by the throat with its free hand. Its grasp is pain. You smell your own skin roasting. You pass out. You wake up in the cabin. Terence, Maggie, Arthur and Loretta are on their knees. 4 Mark IIs are behind them, holding your group by the scruff. 1 is behind you. The doorway is open. The wind has picked up again. The cold air and flecks of snow sting the burns on your neck.
Choose.
The Mark says into your ear.
No.
You answer immediately. The android places a hand at the base of your skull. You have no doubt it could crack your noggin open like a walnut.
Choose.
The logical choice is Maggie!
Shouts Terence.
Shut the fuck up!
Says Maggie.
You piece of shit!
Nah.
Arthur jerks his head toward Terence.
Take out this retard. I'll say it. Survival would be easier without his shouting. Quieter.
No,
Says Terence.
we all know that bigots like Art are a ticking time bomb. A black guy will shoot him the wrong look and he'll shoot them. If you can't pick Maggie, then Art should be your next ranked choice.
Loretta says nothing. Her eyes are closed, but her lips are moving, like she's in prayer. You close your eyes and point.